Dying Light is back. Kyle Crane is back. That's right. This is the true sequel to the original Dying Light game in my eyes. And listen, Kyle Crane's back, but he's not the same person as we knew before. This time, this game's going for more of a darker, eerie vibe, something more dangerous. And it's Techland's newest entry to the Dying Light series. They're trying to, steer the ship back onto the right direction after the lukewarm, reception to Dying Light 2. So what better way than to bring back a beloved protagonist and really tap into their roots. And today, I'm going to give you guys my first thoughts, what this game is bringing, break everything down, and tell you all the new features and stuff, and my personal opinion. So without further ado, let me just tell you first and foremost whether or not I think you should buy the game. Let me just tell you all that all the clips that you'll see are going to be from the beginning of the game, so don't worry about spoilers. But yeah, after around, I'd say 4 hours of having Dying Light, I decided to record this real quick and say that it is definitely an amazing game. This is a definite buy, just to get that out of the way real quick. But this is just amazing. It brought all the stuff that I loved from the Dying Light franchise, and I didn't think they were going to pull this off, if I was going to be honest. Hearing that it was originally DLC for Dying Light 2 made me kind of antsy. I was like, I don't know if I believe in this, but after playing it, and after using the actual beast powers, which felt gimmicky, like when you saw it in the trailer, but no, it was fun. It was amazing. I enjoyed it. I loved it. Kyle Crane is back, as I mentioned before. He just reminds you why you love him as a protagonist. The story was interesting. The setting was amazing. Castor Woods just going through, and you think it wouldn't work with the whole wooded setting, but it really does. It really works. Being able to parkour through random old dilapidated buildings still, or just tree branches or cabins, whatever it may be, it all works out in Dying Light the Beast, and it is really, really a must buy in my opinion. If you're a fan of the franchise, if you're a fan of zombie games or horror games in general, the night times are just as scary. The skill tree is there, so if you want to upgrade stuff, it's pretty cool. I know people like that part of the RPG section of games, and yeah, this is just, I've been having an amazing time. I've been having a great time. But let me go ahead and talk about other stuff like background info, the new features, and all the other things you might want to know about Dying Light the Beast. So for those of you that don't know, Dying Light the Beast was originally intended as DLC for Dying Light 2. So at first I was kind of concerned by this, but it got expanded into a standalone game because of its scope, and they even delayed the game. So that kind of gave me hope that this would be good. And it reintroduces Kyle Crane as a protagonist, as I said earlier. And many people thought he was gone after the events of the following. Turns out not. The setting then shifts from like cityscapes to the woods, a rural forest region, And I think it's a nice change of pace. Cities were nice, but getting into like a foresty area provides new parkour, like places, new events, and just a change in atmosphere that I feel like was needed just to really separate itself from Dying Light 2. And this game does lean heavily more into horror and survival, like tension, which I really like. Because when it became nighttime, I was tensed. I was stressed. I was like, God damn, what the fuck? I gotta go somewhere safe, which is something that I feel the first game did really well until you adjusted, and I just missed that feeling, and I didn't know I missed it till I played this again. But yeah, the story and tone change, which is good, and you get some cool stuff where Crane gets captured and he gets experimented on, and now there's zombie DNA in him. The whole setting and narrative is darker, as I mentioned before. There's new gameplay mechanics with, the beast mode, which is a pretty big feature they're like talking about, where Crane unleashes a monstrous power. And, like I said, it reminds me a lot of the Left 4 Dead, I forgot what the game mode was called, but where you play as the infected. I thought that was pretty cool. Parkour has faster animations, smoother transitions, and just better overall stamina management, which I think is very cool. Combat feels more intense and brutal with the melee finishers and all the new stuff that the beast mode has, and makes everything feel more gory. And there's smarter human enemies as well, which is a pretty big thing as well. And Vehicles, that's a big thing. There's traversal options aside from running and climbing, but let's be honest, the coolest parts are running and climbing in the game. And especially in this new world where the exploration, you're going to want to do this more because it's more about being in the dense woods, forest, villages, whatever you want to call it, right? Rather than a rural terrain where you're in the city, a dilapidated city at that. Instead, we get a cool. I don't know. I think the setting just changing up is pretty cool. And there's new enemies with unique behaviors. And the day and night cycle again is back. The classic like feature of Dying Light, and nights feel way more deadlier than before. And in terms of content, I mean, they said developers have said around 20 plus hours if you just run straight through the story, and around 40 to 50 hours with side missions and exploration. Usually, I feel like they kind of are nice about it, so maybe it'll be less. But I feel like the way I explore Dying Light, I go through every nook and cranny because there's a lot of Easter eggs in this game. So I try to find everything I can. So maybe stretch that 40 to 50 hours to like 60, 70, which passes the $1 per hour rule that I have, where every dollar I spend in the game, I got to get an hour out of it. So, you know, it's doing well for that. I still have to complete the game, but first initial hours have been amazing. You got the 4-player co-op, and again, that's a classic feature everyone needs. Not needs, but it's more enjoyable when you play with friends. Not that you can't play alone, you can enjoy it alone. There's improved lighting, weather, and dynamic environments. There's sharper visuals, especially when you compare it to the previous entries. And with that extra delay that they added this year, you know that it came in with more polish and a better first impression quality, because they don't want you to turn on the game, get bugs, and just be like, man, this is dog shit. So I'm really happy they did that. Now, not to say that there isn't a valid amount of concerns about this game. I mean, a lot of people are worried about the beast mode, if it'll make stuff harder. Like, how will you balance that? And I believe that Techland has done a good job with it, because I think first and foremost, a rule in a game is it fun? Is it a fun feature? And it definitely is. I feel like balancing and worrying about stuff like that isn't necessarily a big thing in Dying Light. If you're worried about something being too OP, then I don't know if we've been playing the same game, because Dying Light 1, it was fun to get OP stuff or upgrade a certain skill tree that made things better. It was a fun feature, and I think this is a fun feature as well. And another thing people could be worried about is the parkour, because I know it's different being in an area where it's not urban. There's not a lot of rooftops. There's not a lot of stuff to climb, I guess, in comparison. But no, the parkour is amazing. It doesn't have to be cityscape parkouring for it to be good, because there's so much more stuff in this little countryside foresty area, and I think it works well. Like, you still have like buildings. It's not like you're in a barren landscape, and traversal can be made easier with vehicles as well. And the whole like core gameplay loop of the parkouring is, I feel like it's always going to be one of the most amazing things about this franchise. And most importantly, I know people are worried about getting burned by the game, because that happened with Dying Light 2. And considering this was DLC for Dying Light 2, you might be like, well, shit, is this just more of the same? And I'm happy to say it is not more of the same. It takes good bits from Dying Light 2 and good bits from Dying Light 1, and it provides a unique experience that I really enjoyed when playing. But yeah, that's my short little before you buy video. Not too intense. It's just coming from a fan perspective on everything. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If the gameplay does look good, if you're waiting for it to be on sale, which is completely valid, because this Techland usually puts good sales on their game. Or if you're just gonna buy it straight off the bat, or you already pre-ordered it, let me know, because I'd be more than happy to get your thoughts and opinions. And I'm gonna go back to playing more Dying Light.